This is Brass Check, and we're recording this on Wednesday, October 30th, 2019, the day that the news media reported that a pathologist hired by Jeffrey Epstein's attorneys say his injuries were consistent with strangulation murder, not suicide. And we said that the day the news came out that he supposedly committed suicide. We said that before it was revealed that the video cameras malfunctioned, before it was revealed that the workers on that unit were overworked and fell asleep. And we even told people how it happened. 2 or more people went into his cell. 1 or more kept him busy from the front. Another guy got behind him and choked him out. That takes less than 10 seconds. Unconscious, he was strung up and left to die. The whole thing could have been done in a minute. And I don't know why this is such a big mystery, such a surprise. I haven't heard anybody lay out the very simple logistics of how this happened. Now, obviously, I wasn't there and I don't know for sure, but that is the simplest way to do it. No weird, nefarious, bizarro schemes need to be proposed. That's how you do such a thing. But today we're going to talk about something I think as interesting, maybe even more important than how Jeffrey Epstein died. And that is somebody with the name of Laura Silsbee. Laura Silsbee, and we're going to get to her in a second. But first we're going to set it up. What's the Epstein story about? Well, it's about a sleazebag who had a whole flock of rich friends, including a guy named Les Wexner, who funded him, who set up what looks like a blackmail ring. They lured young girls, teenagers, mostly, though there seems to be very infrequently repeated reports of much younger girls, but they seem to be mostly teenage girls, luring them into doing things they didn't necessarily want to do. Bad, obviously bad, criminal. He should have been put in jail the first time for a long time, in a real jail, but somehow he skated. Everybody knows this part of the story. Everybody knows that Bill Clinton was on what they called the Lolita Express, Jeffrey Epstein's one of Jeffrey Epstein's private aircraft. And he said he was only on there 4 times, and it turned out he was on there 24 times or some ridiculous number. And we all know what Bill Clinton's all about. But there is another criminal sex ring that involved another Clinton, and this story did not get even 0.1% of the coverage of the Jeffrey Epstein story. And the facts of the case are far, far, far worse. And who are we talking about here? We're talking about a woman named Laura Silsbee. And Laura Silsbee went down to Haiti after the 2010 earthquake with a bunch of colleagues, and her stated intention was to help the children of Haiti. And when she was arrested, she had 33 Haitian children who she had taken from their families. And she was trying to smuggle them out of the country via the Dominican Republic. And the Dominican Republic and Haiti shared the same island, so you might think of Haiti as an island, but it is an island, but it shares the island with another country, Dominican Republic. So their scheme was to get these kids out of Haiti and into the Dominican Republic. Now, they claimed that they were doing good. Now, they had no papers for these kids. They had no passports for these kids. And it turned, and they said that these children were orphans and that they were going to help them find safety. But it turned out, upon investigation, these children weren't orphans. They had families. And the families had been told that the children were going to be helped, but they would be able to see their children. Now, if you're poor and there's an earthquake and the whole world's turned upside down and some people come along and say they're going to take your kids to safety, maybe, and you're starving, maybe you'll go along with that. But these families did not know the real intended destination of these children, which was, quote, adoption. So the plan of Laura Silsbee and her partners in crime was to take these kids and, quote, put them up for adoption. Now, this is really weird because the kids had no papers. They didn't have birth certificates. They didn't have passports. So how did Silsbee and her fellow criminals think they were going to legally get these children out of Haiti in the first place, and then ultimately out of the Dominican Republic in the second place? That's a mystery. Now, guess whose name appeared in the Clinton emails? That would be Laura Silsbee. Now, the thing you have to know about Hillary Clinton is nobody gets anything out of Hillary Clinton for free. She might as well have "Pay Me" tattooed on her forehead. She's not out there doing good deeds for the world, but somehow she got involved in helping Laura Silsbee after she was arrested. Now, Silsbee's plans, which appeared in the Clinton emails, how that happened is an amazing story. Somehow, Clinton's right-hand woman, the woman that was married to the pervert that used to send pictures of himself to women via email, somehow she and Silsbee were in constant contact. And she was a big fan of Silsbee's, quote, work. Now, after these folks got arrested, and by the way, it wasn't like it was an accident. It wasn't like, oh, well, gee, we're these naive folks and we just wanted to help and we wanted to get the kids to a safe country and we were going to sort out everything later. They had tried to take 40 kids out of the country earlier. And been caught and turned back. So they knew they were violating the law. They were lying to the families because the families were told they'd be able to see their kids. Well, if the intention was to put these kids, quote, up for, quote, adoption, then how were poor families in Haiti going to see their kids who were in another country? They had no paperwork. They had no passports. So they must have had some kind of plan for how they were going to get these kids out of the Dominican Republic that didn't require passports. So maybe they had a boat. Maybe they had their own plane, their own private plane. We don't know. We just know that they finally got caught with 33 kids. We also know from one of the emails that appeared in the Hillary Clinton emails that their goal was to get 100 kids. But they only managed to get these 33. Now here's what gets interesting. Not only was this woman's identity and her her organization and information about her organization. Not only did all that stuff appear on the Hillary Clinton email server, because the Clinton group was aware of these people, the Clintons got involved personally to help the conspirators get away. And that was reported in the Sunday Times of the UK. I'm going to read it. February 7th, 2010. A diplomatic deal over the 10 American missionaries. By the way, these people identified themselves as missionaries, and they identified themselves as being members of a church. A diplomatic deal over the 10 American missionaries jailed in Haiti on child abduction charges, because that's what they were doing. They were kidnapping these children, 33 of them, may lead to the release this week of all, except for the group's leader, Laura Silsbee. And here was where it gets deep. The intervention of Bill Clinton, the former president, who is coordinating relief efforts in Haiti, and we learned what a joke that turned out to be, may accelerate the resolution of an affair that has embarrassed the U.S. government, dismayed relief agencies, and angered many Haitians who believe their plight is being exploited by unscrupulous foreigners. Well, if Haitians believe that, they were just perceiving reality correctly. I can see why relief agencies would be dismayed, but why would the U.S. government be embarrassed? They have nothing. They had nothing to do with this, right? I mean, this was just some random group of make-believe Christians from a make-believe church smuggling kids out of Haiti by lying to their families and traveling without papers, knowing fully well that what they were doing was illegal because they got caught the first time they tried it. It's just very interesting, isn't it? Why would Bill Clinton get involved in bailing out child kidnappers? Why did this woman, Laura Silsbee's organization, appear repeatedly before all this happened in Clinton emails? Right? What was the intended destination of these children? Because if you're going to do a legitimate adoption, you would have things like the child's birth certificate, the child's passport, a letter certified by the parents and the government or some responsible official that's okay to put these children up for adoption. But this group had none of that. They just had the kids. And again, they called themselves missionaries. What kind of missionary kidnaps 33 children and tries to sneak them out of a country without papers? That's the thing I keep coming back to. No papers. How were they going to do an adoption of children without any paperwork at all? Because if they'd had the paperwork, they could have shown it at the border and said, look, this is all on the up and up. We have their passports, we have their birth certificates, we have certified letters that these children are being offered up for adoption, but they didn't have any of that. Now, the interesting thing is the 9 other people involved in this, because there were 10 total, and this woman, Laura Silsbee, was the front person. And she did go to jail, but she only was in jail for time served. So instead of going to prison for years, I mean, imagine if somebody came to your town and went around with some kind of and this was 33 kids is a lot of kids. That's a school bus full. I mean, this is not a simple operation. This was not an inexpensive operation either, right? getting 10 people down to Haiti, gathering up 33 kids, transporting them, feeding them, hopefully, taking care of them, hopefully. I mean, not simple. So the other 9, not named. No names given. Wow. That's kind of amazing. Why was that? A group attempted, I mean, again, imagine if a group came to your town, snatched 33 kids. I don't care if it's Haiti. Snatched 33 kids and tried to sneak them out of the country. Do you think that person would get off with time served? Do you think the other 9 people, 9, count them, 9 people involved would get to go unnamed by the news? You can't find the names of these people. And guess how they got home to the United States? U.S. government transport. Yeah. Why? Who were these people? I mean, if I go to Haiti or some other place and get in trouble, I'm not going to be flown home by the U.S. government, am I? I'm going to have to buy my own ticket and fly myself home, right? Or get put on a plane and flown home. But these people got special treatment. So not only is this story mind-boggling, oh, by the way, the original attorney who was helping Silsbee was a guy named Jorge Puello, Jorge Puello. And guess what his profession was, besides being an attorney? He ended up being arrested. The police, and let me read it. This is February 11th. The police in El Salvador have begun an investigation into whether a man suspected of leading a trafficking ring involving Central American, Caribbean, and Caribbean women and girls is a legal advisor to the Americans charged with trying to take 33 people, children, out of Haiti without permission. Jorge Puello. He said, oh, it's a case of mistaken identity. But in fact, he was jailed. And he was found of being involved in human trafficking. And what he would do, he would offer low-income women and underage Nicaraguan girls jobs and then bring them to El Salvador and put them to work. And Puello said, hey, I've never even been to Haiti. Well, someone came up with a photograph of Puello in Haiti. So this appears, and he was traveling with bodyguards, and this appears to have been the first advisor to this miscreant from Idaho with the name of Laura Silsbee. Now, interestingly enough, a little bit later, after this story started to break, the Daily Beast wrote an article filled with misstatements of fact, falsehoods, and misinformation, calling this whole thing a conspiracy theory. The problem with this conspiracy theory is it appeared in the Times of London, it appeared in the New York Times, and it appeared in a lot of other papers. Now, if you don't know the Daily Beast is an interesting company. It's part of something called Interactive Corp, which is a collection of online properties, one of them being a supposed news service called the Daily Beast. guess who's on the board of directors of the Daily Beast? Young Hillary Clinton, young Chelsea Clinton is on the board of directors of the Daily Beast. Based on what? Based on her qualifications? Based on her achievements as a business person? Based on her involvement in journalism? Based on what is this child doing as a board member of the Daily Beast? And then we have the Daily Beast very deliberately, very actively, very aggressively, very energetically running cover for this story about the Clintons and the child kidnappers who seem to be affiliated with a guy who's involved in the sex trafficking of girls. Now, Laura Silsbee has another interesting connection. She worked for something called AlertSense. And AlertSense has a big contract with the federal government. And their contract is with FEMA. And the FEMA project is the IPAWS, the Integrated Public Alert and Warning System. And one of the IPAWS functions is to issue Amber Alerts during kidnapping events. So what an amazing coincidence this is, that a executive in a federal government, in a company that has a big federal government contract to run the Amber Alert system, happens to also be a missionary who traveled to Haiti after the earthquake with 9 unnamed people with the goal of removing 100 children from the country, and that the 33 they were caught with had no papers, no passport, and the parents had been straight up lied to. Now, if it turned out to be 100 kids, what's a kid worth? Well, if it's a straight up illegal adoption, could be anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000. Depends on how well they sell it. Let's take the high number. What's 100 kids times $100,000? I mean, that's a lot of bread. 100 kids times $100,000. Doing it on my calculator to make sure I've got it right. Has $10 million. Well, let's be conservative and just say they're going to do it at the bargain basement rate of just $40,000 a kid times 100. That's $4 million. So if this was a legitimate, and legitimate's a ridiculous word to use here, if the intention was real adoptions to hopefully stable, loving families, this would have been a $4 million payday for the people involved. That's pretty motivational for people with a certain level of ethics. So going back to Hillary Clinton, why was Hillary Clinton's assistant constantly corresponding with this group? Again, Hillary Clinton might as well have "Pay Me" tattooed on her forehead. She doesn't do anything for anybody that she's not getting compensated for in one way or another. Why did her husband, Bill Clinton, personally get involved in getting these 9 criminals, sick, twisted criminals? Because, I mean, the separation of children from their families is it's one of the worst crimes you can commit. Why did he personally get involved in helping these people out? So when we look at Jeffrey Epstein and we look at how this thing has been blown up, as it should be, and is in the headlines or was in the headlines every day and is perennially of interest to people, we have to ask, why did this story in Haiti with 33 children who were clearly kidnapped, or the attempted kidnapping, under these unbelievably sketchy circumstances, 9 of the criminals not even named, 9 of the criminals flown home by the U.S. government. And the woman who, on the one hand, was supposedly a missionary from a church in Idaho. By the way, good luck finding that church. Maybe it existed. It certainly doesn't exist on the internet now. Her other job was working on a FEMA project, the Amber Alert system, which is the system that's supposed to alert people during kidnapping events. What are the odds of this? So as we look at the never-ending circus of the non-investigation of Jeffrey Epstein, let's look at a little bit of history. Laura Silsbee and Bill and Hillary Clinton and Haiti.